Hey guys, it's time for the next episode of K1LLC4M Learns Realistic Battles. The first one I did got so much positive feedback, I'll just keep going with it. Guys, keep your realistic battle tips coming in. Some of them are really helpful. This time I flew out in a Tier 1 HE-112 Premium variant. I like this plane at Tier 1, but with one caveat. The HE-112s are slow for fighter planes. You won't be chasing a lot of planes down from behind in this thing. The Luftwaffe made the right choice when they went with the Bf-109 over the HE-112 as their primary fighter in the 1930s. At this stage of my realistic battles learning curve, I don't feel comfortable enough with my gunnery to use stealth ammo. As a result of that, I use universal and air target loads to take advantage of the tracers. As you can see here, I took off at 100% throttle and started off on the initial climb. As I maintained nearly 200 km per hour, I throttle back to 90% throttle. I then adjust my pitch so that I climb with an indicated airspeed of nearly 200 km per hour. I'll spare you guys the monotony of watching me climb up to altitude, so we'll skip forward a bit. I don't actually get that far up when I spot an SPD-3 dive bomber mowing the lawn way out in front of its team. The Bf-110 on my left calls out he's got it, but I gain altitude to be in position all the same. I figure if the 110 bungles the pass, I'll be in a good place to sweep up the garbage, so to speak. So I pop up to over 1,000 meters altitude and I wait. The 110 who called dibs on the SPD-3 then proceeds to mostly ignore it. I don't know what happened there, but I took that as my signal to attack. I angle my wings a bit to the right to adjust my approach and I start out on a dive. There are a couple of other teammates in the area who also have a notion about the SPD-3. The dive bomber eventually notices the world of hurt he's flying toward and takes evasive action. It's too late for him at this point. I'm doing nearly 500 kilometers per hour and the SPD-3 is a sitting duck. When it fills my cockpit window, I light up the plane with my 20s. I quit the Dauntless and put him into the ground and out of the match for kill number 1. I'm feeling pretty good at this point. I have a quick kill under my belt and new targets approach. I head up again looking to get over most of the approaching Reds. There's 2 Reds that I won't be able to climb over before contact, and that's the PBY and Spitfire. The PBY would be an easy kill, but for the fact my plane is too underpowered to reach it in time. This is an arcade and the HE-112 doesn't have WEP available in realistic battles. In any event, standing up on my prop with an oncoming Spitfire would be stupid. I let the PBY go and keep my plane's nose in on the Spitfire's direction. I'm not necessarily looking for a head-on here, but my 20mm are nose mounts. The Spitfire's 20s are wing-mounted, giving me a slight advantage. The 2 planes are somewhat equivalent in turn performance, so I'm comfortable being aggressive here. And as I suspected, the Spitfire, while approaching me for the most part, is not coming directly at me. It's becoming clearer he doesn't want a head-on exchange, either looking for a turn fight or to evade. The Spitfire passes over my starboard wing and goes into a right turn. He bugs out back toward the friendlier skies he came from, leaving 2 of his teammates below me to pick on. As I mentioned before, the HE-112 is a slow fighter and pursuit is not an option here. Instead, I turn my guns toward the wounded PBY-5 flying past with smoke trailing it. A quick pass scores a crit, but not enough to put the PBY-5 down. This leaves me on the tail of an A-20 with enough speed for my dive to catch up to it. I'm out of 20mm cannon shells now, so take special note of how I'm going to deliberately aim my machine guns. I'll make a conscious effort to target one of his engine nacelles or wing root. This is because the small diameter machine gun rounds don't have the stopping power that cannons do. You have to target vulnerable components like wing roots, engines, and elevators to kill a plane. Inside 300 meters range, I opened up with my machine guns, raking the port engine nacelle and wing. Once it's obvious the A-20 is bound for the ground for kill number 2, I break off. As it happens, I break off a second or two too late as his tail gunner manages to set me on fire. A few anxious moments pass as I wait to see if this fire will be fatal or not. I've lost the left wing flap and I waste no time heading for the blue runway at maximum throttle. It looks like I luck out here. The fire does go out before making my plane unflyable. I have a lot of red components but nothing black apart from the lost wing flap. I drop my landing gear as I get closer to help start dropping airspeed. Soon I'll reduce throttle as well. I'll also make slight banks left and right to help slow down faster. I realize that the loss of the flap means the plane will yaw sideways due to the uneven drag. I'll have to compensate with a little left rudder to keep the plane aligned with the runway. My main concern here is to clear the last line of trees before the start of the runway. That way, I can concentrate on putting the wheels down soft and lined up without striking a tree. Once the last trees between me and the runway are behind, I start the final drop towards the ground. I touch down just in front of the runway as this one is a very short one and I'm a little fast. I use a little rudder and start pumping the brakes to slow the plane. You don't want to stand on the brake pedals all the way down the runway. you can risk the plane flipping over on its nose in a tail drag configuration. I think it's funny how at the exact moment I'm landing for a repair and rearm, another HE-112 is too. This is the same exact premium model, no less. I slow to a stop and take a look back to see if any Reds are coming for a runway attack. When it looks clear, so I'll spare you having to wait and skip forward again in time. We pick up things just after I take off when the Reds are almost out of planes. Of the 3 Reds you see on screen, only one is a fighter and the PBY is smoking badly. I'm flying towards an A-20 with its nose pointed at me, so I do a couple rolls to keep the fragile plane from being hit. Once the A-20 is behind me, I round on it to begin my pursuit. Here's where you'll see what I was talking about, the HE-112's inability to chase targets down. My plane and another HE-112 are in a tail chase with the A-20. Most people would figure the A-20 is toast. This pilot is good though. He keeps his speed up and knows we can't close on him quickly, so he uses his tail gunner to keep us at bay. Look at the HE-112 wingman on my port side. He's doing his best to close, but if anything he's losing ground. He's shooting and not connecting with the A-20 and he's paying a price for it, taking the A-20's tail gunner fire in the engine. This is going to go on for a while until the other HE-112 just can't take it anymore. He caught fire. Guess it's my turn to move in and take a whack at it. I start taking fire at 800 meters range and start flying evasively to avoid it. I send a couple volleys after the A-20, but I score no hits that would compromise my target. What I'm hoping to do is at least damage the plane so that it slows down or takes a damaged control surface. As you're seeing and are going to continue to see, the HE-112 just doesn't have the offensive punch to do that reliably. I'm going to wind up chasing this plane until, like the previous HE-112, my engine just can't take the cumulative hits from the tail guns. I'll let you watch in silence for a while, and maybe down in the comment section, you can tell me what I could have tried here. Yeah, so that was not the result I would have hoped for there. My plane's smoking and I'm completely out of ammunition. I have to return to base, obviously. As the previous 2.5 to 3 minutes of silence attests, I'm at a loss for words how else that could have gone. The only thing I can come up with is maybe shooting more accurately to slow down the plane. But that's just executing better, not a new idea. Anyway, I'll spare you any more tedium and skip ahead once more. The match ends in a victory for my team about the time I reach my base. I feel good about the contribution I made to my team with 2 kills and not getting killed myself. The only regret I had is not being able to down that A20 for a 3rd kill. I know you guys have said you like to see the mission summary / scorecard at the end of these games, so here it is. I got 1st place on my team and we won, so I guess in that respect, if the goal here is to learn realistic battles, it's a good thing. The desired end state for this that I want is to achieve results like this consistently, like I do in arcade. If I can top the leaderboard a fair amount of the time in realistic battles, I'll declare victory and move on. But I think we're a long way from there yet. Be interested to hear what you guys think in the comments at least. That's all for this episode of KillCam Learns Realistic Battles. Do me a favor and hit that like button if you enjoyed this, it really helps. Also, if you're not already a subscriber to this channel, mash the subscribe button too to see more stuff like this. If you care to leave a comment with some advice, tips, or whatever for me, happy to see those as well. See you in the skies, ladies and gentlemen.